Welcome to
Today.
Culture Build.
Today we'll be joined by Alex, and we're working on the Apec Simiran
Apec Simiran race.
So as I bring up Twitch to make sure that we're all
good to go.
Give a brief description on who the Apec Simiran are.
So the Apec Simiran are more gorilla-like. So last time we worked on Scampero, which were definitely more monkey-like. The Apec is more ape and gorilla-like.
So
actually, what I was wondering, are these supposed to be within the same? Well, I don't want to say the same world, but the same world of origin.
I would say yes. They
come from
the place. They come from kind of the same thing. But they've evolved differently, and their cultures are different. They'll still be vaguely similar, but different enough. Where Scampero are they live on top of mountains. And they kind of raise and stuff like that. They're much more like trickster.
They're much more like
trickster. What I was thinking about for the Apec was they're much more. Well, they're different. I'm just trying to think exactly how to describe that. They're more calm.
They're more calm
in nature. They're much more.
See,
because originally I
wanted them to be much more
warrior-like. But obviously I was yesterday. I was listening to some Chinese documentaries. I wanted the Simiran, the entire Simiran culture, based on Chinese. Culture. Obviously not the same.
Obviously not the same. So I want to have my own spins on certain things.
But the more and more I kind of listened to that, the more I was like, what if they're more calm? They obviously they use their strength for their advantage, but they use that within their culture as well. And another thing I thought of was like Jade. And I was like, what if they use Jade in their weaponry? And for some reason,
I mean, that'd be cool as hell.
Yeah. There we go.
Yes,
we are live.
Yes, we are live.
Okay.
It appears.
For some reason, it just didn't want to
show up for me right
away.
Okay.
So
start.
So the reason why I was asking, like, are they from the same world? Because, well, what we've talked about numerous times is that your world is two worlds combined. So I was wondering, like, is one of them from the mammalian world where they didn't... Either they were more seclusive if they were the Scampero and, like, had to be tricksters to survive, or were they more stubborn? And it was the Apec in the reptilian world that were like, no, we are solidifying our hold here. We're not going to develop because, well, we aren't the Apex things here, but we're still going to have our own culture. And when I say develop, I mean, like, advance to the levels that the rest of the species of that world advance to.
That's definitely an interesting thought. I don't know if I want them to be from the reptilian world. Reptilian universe. I don't know. I don't know if I want the Simiran. Maybe another race later on. Now that we're talking about that, I'm actually thinking a couple races that might work for it, but I don't know if I want to do it for the Simiran.
Okay. I only had the thought because I thought it'd be like a fun little switch where in the mammalian world the lizard folk are very tribal and very like stuck to the swamps. They didn't develop as much. And then the very reptilian races in the mammalian world are what the Apec and the Scamparo would be in the reptilian world. So it's like that just weird position of no reptiles conquered, so they're what humans, elves, and dwarves are. And so mammals became what lizard folk, Yuan-Ti in the mammalian world, and I don't want to say turtles. But you get what I'm saying, where it's like a fun little play on the situation where the roles are reversed.
Yeah, for sure.
But
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I want them to be like. If I want the Simirans to be like that, because like at least with the Scampero, and when we did it last time, they definitely have their own cities, up in the mountains and stuff like that.
I was just wondering what you were going for here.
So. Oh, my brain just died for like half a second. So what if what we do, right? Is we start with let's start with the Jade thing. That's something that's a little more solidified in my head currently.
So would that be down in art or?
It could be both art and. I mean, because they could use Jade for a lot of stuff. I also did a little research on where Jade comes from. And like how it's formed. And there's actually two different forms of Jade. But I'll probably go with the Jadeite Jade because I just like that green look. If I remember correctly, it was the Jadeite Jade that had iron in it. I can't remember. There was two. Up on the computer. I almost opened up a new tab. So what if? I mean, because obviously they want to use. Jade is such a huge thing. Jade is such a huge thing. Obviously, they use it for art as well, but also for like weapons and stuff and armor. So
yeah.
So that means Jade will probably have a really big impact on their culture in general. They used it for art and weapons and stuff like that.
I mean, it sounds like it's their major export.
I mean, that's their major everything. I would imagine.
So their society is essentially built on Jade. Okay.
Like, I don't think their buildings would be made out of Jade.
Oh, well, no.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to kind of.
That wouldn't be feasible.
Put that out there. I just wanted to put that out there so that way. Anyone listening later on, or B, just in case it goes through our mind later. Have that thought right there in the sand. Do that. So let's say. Jade has many uses. Jade is a major cultural has not major cultural significance is used in
so it sounds like this is an aspect of this civilization would definitely be mining.
Yeah, probably.
If Jade is so important.
So that's the case. Because I want them to live in jungles. Because gorillas live in jungles. So what if they usually do a lot of their civilizations are usually built on the bases of like mountains in the jungle. Like they don't.
Do you have very many of those?
They don't go in. I mean, I haven't made them yet. But obviously they'll and actually, what there is a place I have made so far that does have a mountain jungle. So yeah.
Okay.
It's not where you guys. It's not where you guys. Not Marigo, but it's in where the IRL guys are.
Okay. All right. So I guess the very first thing that would need to, if Jade is kind of the thing that this place is built around, or at least that is the major, I don't want to say hub, but is the major like resource that constructs this civilization, then I imagine we're going along the lines of the strong and powerful are those that have mines for the material?
Probably. I would imagine.
So
the rich would probably wear like jade jewelry to show off their status.
I'm just trying to form how I want to put this idea down. So I would probably say those who have high social power usually are those that own jadeite mines. Thank you. That's much better. So usually are those that have
jadeite mines.
Okay. How is this society run? Because you were saying you didn't want them to be a warrior-like race, correct?
I mean, they still have warriors, but I don't think they'll be like warrior race, like when you think of orcs, right?
Like yeah, might makes right.
It's like a yeah.
I also kind of want to go with like a
kind of an inner peace type thing too.
So
this sounds very monk-like, if that's. Because you were saying earlier that you wanted these people to be like, very, not calm, but like, a sense of inner self and an idea of inner peace. If that's the case, I can't imagine wealth being super important if that's the prevailing thought process.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
To kind of piggyback off what you just said.
What if they don't view Jedi as like valuable, like money wise?
Obviously. What if they just like
trying to. So I want Jade to have importance. But obviously, if we're going that way, it
monetary importance.
Well, I mean, if it's going to be a thriving society, like a society that's very widespread, it's going to have some form of currency. That's unfortunately
of course.
So you are going to have some form of monetary.
I mean, it can still have monetary value,
but they might not
100%
view it just 100% that way.
I mean, maybe the prevailing probably would just be like, oh yeah, no, I just use this to get by, but you'll always have some outliers.
That's true.
Cool, I really like Jade, and this gives me a fantastic lifestyle. I'm gonna get as much of it as possible.
I mean, also if
it's part of their weapons and armor, it's also
very useful for protection and stuff like that too.
Well, if it's used so primarily for everything, then yeah, those that own jadeite mines, they're the ones that are gonna definitely like owning the very. I don't want to say owning, but they're going to be hiring the vast majority of the populace. They're going to be the ones that give that will be giving the materials for weapons. So I don't know. I could see some conflict coming in because of that. If a vein of jadeite is found, then that is absolutely going to be something that would shake up. At least it sounds like that would shake up the various higher ups, because it's like, we're trying to sell to the masses all of the jadeite we can. So, or maybe each mine is a family, and each smaller faction or smaller group allies itself with a family, where it's like, okay, you have the most jadeite, you can make the most weapons. I'm going to partner my family to yours to be safe.
It's an interesting idea. Mines are owned by a family line. Some families will ally. Yes, ally. I don't feel like that's not right. Themselves with
one another, or with larger fam.
Thank you.
I wouldn't say ally. I'd maybe say like dedicate, or this is a terrible word choice, but I can't kind of essentially use their if they don't have jadeite, then they use their family as their monetary value, where it's like, hey, I have a big family. We'll indenture ourselves to your family because your family has weapons, it has jadeite, and it has everything else we need to survive.
So what if we said families that wish to How's that?
I like it. We are definitely changing the tone from inner peace. If they're going to be seeing themselves as hey, this is, we want security, and the most powerful people in our populace are, the ones that own everything, then I don't know how inner peace can really. I guess inner peace with your role in a family would definitely be something that maybe some society or some aspects that would be. Oh, that gets very social. Very socialist though, where it's like, no, be happy with the role that you have within the family. Don't try to get higher up. Don't try to expand. That unfortunately though, like a lot of religion and whatnot like that, a lot of those ideas are very socialist ideas.
And what's funny is we already did that with Dragon Ball 2.
I mean,
I'm not saying that multiple
races can't have the same type of thinking. I'm just saying
that you said that.
That's funny that you said that because.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I feel like villages of these definitely, well, like you said, definitely build around those that find jadeite mines. So it would be very easy for someone to... I don't want to say easy, but going from rags to riches is definitely something that can absolutely happen in this style. Because if someone decides to go out on their own and they just happen to strike a massive vein of jadeite, they just got insanely wealthy. And I imagine families will flock to that. It's like, cool, awesome, bunch of jadeite. We can do stuff with this. However, I also see that as a kind of thing where, like, those who are of higher social status or of those who own the mines are definitely... They're definitely those that have to think on all matters, because if they just got lucky and found a jadeite vein and just so happened to be like, cool, I'm just a explorer and I just happen to find a massive vein, I could see other families hearing of that and being like, awesome, here's our warriors, that vein is ours now. Or I could also see more cunning families, like, ingratiating themselves to the finders or the founders, and being like, no, you want to do this with the jadeite, you want to do this to get these benefits, and then suddenly I own the vein and you own nothing. Weird how that is. So I could see this society definitely have some chicanery occur within it. I don't know how prevalent that is. That would be absolutely up to you and how the tone is.
Well, I don't know what does chicanery mean.
What does chicanery mean? I don't know what that means.
I tend to... I don't know if I'm using it the correct way.
Fair.
Yeah, to use the use of trickery to achieve a political, financial, or legal purpose.
Okay.
So I was using it correct. Yay.
I mean, it's possible that that's
heavily
looked down upon. That
doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
Oh, absolutely. I could definitely say, oh, so you stole the vein. That's not gonna look too good on you. I could definitely, if we want to go that route, then I could see that this society might really believe in destiny. Where destiny is not something to be messed with, and destiny is not something that can be questioned. It was this person's destiny to find this vein, and it's their destiny to build from it. It can be interacted and changed, but it's not looked well upon for that to happen. That raises a whole lot of other quandaries, but it's a foundation that we could work off of. Hell, we could even say something along the lines of, like, the idea of jadeite and veins, that destiny is like a vein of jadeite. It is set in the stone.
I love that.
I love that.
I'm rewriting that.
Say
that exactly.
To say that exactly.
Believe that. Life is like a vein of. That's not how you spell vein. Of jadeite. It is set in stone. But just like a vein can be.
I was gonna say, like, the the process of going through life is essentially excavating it.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't think of how I would make that sound poetic.
If I believe that life is like a vein of Jadeite, set a stone. The process of life is excavating. That's not how you spell that. Fucking at all.
Hang on.
There you go. I just had accidentally hit the T.
Instead of
No. Hang on.
Okay.
Something along like
that. Something along those lines.
Princess needs revealed as the Jadeite is excavated.
Okay, so this is a culture that is centered on a major resource, built upon a major resource, and believe in destiny is essentially what we're getting at. Jadeite going, a vein going dry, or a mine going dry would be such a catastrophe. To take that into, like, unfortunate real life circumstances at the moment, it's kind of like what's happening in Venezuela, where that is a oil-centered nation, and now they don't have, they're not getting as much money from it. So, chaos. Yeah. So, I mean, if we're going along the lines of destiny, inner peace, and all that whatnot, then we could absolutely say that it isn't really... Once a Jadeite, or once a vein, or once a mine has run dry, it's not frowned upon to leave, as the norms of daily life explain. You know, families are, it isn't frowned upon for a family to opt out of a deal. So once the mines are done, and the mines are totally dry, then that city, that family disbands, or that I use the term family as in, like, that entire, like, town. Just falls apart in that it's a very it's a kind of like a mosquito or parasitic like thing, where the host is now no longer giving any benefits, so now they've spread out and they flock over to the next set of things. And from there you could always say that, like, there's absolutely going to be people who are or there's going to be Simirans that definitely flock towards the biggest families, but the more adventurous would be the Simirans that go out on their own and put everything on their on striking out into the mountain and being like, all right, I believe I'm gonna find a vein of Jadeite if I just follow destiny to strike this rock, start digging downwards, and maybe they'll find Jadeite, maybe they won't. So you'd have a varying differences in classes, in that you would have the ones who own the mines, the ones who work the Jadeite, You'd have the families that decide to hop from mine to mine, and then you'd have the more risky and Cimarron families who have decided, I don't want to be a miner my entire life, so I don't want to be of lower status my entire life, so I'm going to go out into the wilderness and just start digging and trying to find a vein of my own so I can start my own name. Those are the kind of 4 to 5 groups I can really think of.
That makes sense.
Save for warriors.
But yeah. But we've kind of started. Jumping ahead of ourselves. We should probably start writing some of this down.
Well, I'm just brainstorming at the moment. I don't really know. For art and literature, this feels like a culture that passes on through the spoken word rather than literature. This definitely seems like the culture that they are in a place as long as the veins of jadeite are there. Once the veins dry up, they scatter to the winds. So you don't want to be carrying a lot.
So okay, so read it like. I'm just trying to think how to write it.
That the stories, morals, and literature of the Apec Simirans is not written down, but is passed through oral tradition.
Yeah. Lore and stories of the Black. Oh god, my brain is just not wanting to work today. I learned something new today.
What?
I didn't know that impart was a word. I thought it was in part.
No.
I know. That's why I said I learned something new. That's why I said I learned something new today.
It's just... do we want to call them mines?
Or
what is a large gathering of APEC? Is that a city? Is that a town? Is that a mine? A excavation? I feel like excavation might be a bit too... I don't want to say elegant of a word, but...
I know what you're saying.
I know what you're saying.
I mean, obviously, the way we write things down.
Here is how
in my head at least.
Whenever we write anything down,
unless I specifically write it in that race's language,
language.
It's usually how the common tongue
explains it. Obviously,
I feel like
they might have their own. Word for it.
Well, it's also not a bad idea to at least like write it down somewhere that they don't call their gatherings, mines. They call them this. Let's see.
What is a group of?
Just so I can get my brain and thought process. What are a group of gorillas called?
I don't know.
Group of gorillas.
They're called troops. They're called troops.
Group of gorillas is called a troop. That doesn't really go with what we're like.
No, because I was like, that would sound very militaristic if I went along that route. We can get back to that later.
We can do that later.
Their art, I imagine, would be, once again, it has to be something that is light and allows for their nomadics lifestyle. I would say that their art definitely incorporates jade for the more wealthy.
Yeah.
But I would say that it probably incorporates into when you see a Apec like showing off art or like making something that they would call art. It would be something that they can use for their travels, so like a walking stick, or maybe they go a little bit out of their way to make bridles, or if they do use mounts.
I just sorry not to cut you off.
But I just had a thought process. What if they use
martial arts? Something useful to protect
themselves on the road.
And different forms can portray stories. Can portray
different things.
So how would you break that down then? Like what would make martial arts, like where would they learn it? Where would it have started for them?
Well,
why would, like, if it's to defend themselves on the road, then that would definitely be those who don't own mines. That would be something for them to use as their way of protecting themselves.
I'm sorry. It's hard for me to focus today. I don't know why. I mean, like, you know. I'm just trying to. I promise. I'm thinking. The words aren't coming out. Because in my head, right? So I'm just gonna kind of just spew out without. Because Shaolin monks, right? They practice martial arts, but they don't really use it for fighting unless they have to. At least that's stuff. All that stuff. A lot of at least I know martial arts. At least I know. The only kung fu lore that I know is more of what I learned when I was doing Long Shou Kun. And I know that one. Obviously, we're not going to use that lore for this because it doesn't make sense. What we're going for APEC. But that one was the person who created Long Shou Kun. Basically his from what I remember, I might remember slightly incorrectly. It's been a long while since Gary's told me the story. The people that he loved
were killed.
And so he taught himself how to combat the martial arts that was used
to kill the people he loved.
And he used that to fight those people. Obviously, that's a little more. Not what we're going for with this right now.
Yeah, that's a lot of vengeance right there.
Obviously, that's not what we're going for. That's not what we're going for with this. I mean, martial arts are made from many different ways.
True.
Some martial arts.
I'm not saying that isn't.
Are made. I know. I'm spewing out my thought process because that's gonna make this go a lot easier and quicker than if I try to sit there and think. Like some martial arts are different forms. Crane form, stuff like that. They're based off of trying to mimic the way animals move in nature. So many different martial arts can be crafted in other ways.
So what if?
What if martial arts when you're good at martial arts it's mostly used for self-control. You learn how to control your body in a way ways better than just an average person.
What if hang on, I just had an idea. What? Because like something like that would need to be something that these people would need time to learn. So I imagine that would people would learn these styles when there's large enough gatherings that draws the attention of a teacher to come in and be like, hey, let me these things. What if that's their religion? What if because if the idea is destiny, then what is the paths of destiny, or what makes up destiny? And then that can break down into what that then is for their. Obviously, the idea of destiny and that everything is kind of set in stone, that is their fundamental belief. But from there, it's like something along the lines, I don't know, of kind of like the ways or the teachings of like, how do you deal with destiny? Are you one who sees destiny as a shackle? Are you one that sees destiny as I'm carefree because I know that I will run into what I am destined to run into? Do you fight destiny, or do you make your destiny?
So
hang on, let me write down like the forms that I was talking about. Shackled, so the ones I wrote out. Can they see what we're writing?
Yeah.
Or okay, cool. Those are the general ideas of like what me personally would break down to how one would react to destiny.
That makes sense. No, that makes sense.
And I could see that as their religion being, how are you going to resign, or what is your relationship to destiny? Mm-hmm. And from there, you could break that down into different forms of martial arts, like by following the traditions of the teachers, you are acting in your role with destiny.
So,
but I was.
My thought process is going off this. If we're making destiny the religion, if we're making that. To me, this would mean that they don't worship deities.
They don't worship deities.
Acknowledge they exist,
but they don't worship them.
Right.
So how I would say that would be. Apex. View of deity is uncommon to other races. I spell deity, so I'm just gonna do that. Worship and build structures in their names in Apec will only acknowledge their existence. Excuse me. Deity.
Trying to think of like good names for this. For the various like statuses of oneself in destiny.
Apex. Why is that suddenly not correct? Alright, just because Apex view of deities is racist, whereas most cultures worship and build structures in a deity's name. Few deities in the common races, whereas most cultures worship and build structures in a deity's name, and APEC will only acknowledge their existence. I like this. This is actually really interesting.
This is actually really interesting to me.
I want to do water, but I'm going very like Avatar here with the various elements representing. But I'm not trying to do that on purpose. I swear.
I like it.
I like it.
I'm trying to think of another example of what, because I feel one who has given themselves to destiny is like, they're definitely every time I wake up, every action I do, that is already destined to do. So I must play my part doing that.
Yeah, so it's very. I feel like it's very similar to like Shackled by Destiny.
Shackled by Destiny.
But whereas when it feels like Shackled, it means that they have no choice and they have to do it. Given, and obviously, the way you read it, it's obvious. I know you know. But with Forgiven to Destiny is where they acknowledge that. Okay with it,
but they're okay with it, and they go along with it.
Yeah. Where the Shackled by Destiny, I feel like those are those who are downtrodden in their position, or those who know that everything is going to end and their actions literally mean nothing. but they still have to do it. What would be another good, like, idea of flowing? I was thinking time, but that...
So what if...
Because freed by destiny just, I feel like, has to be wind. Nothing else is more free than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, where water is still...
I think water would work,
because
water is still confined by gravity.
I mean, so is air, but you
can't see that.
Water.
I mean, I was really trying to avoid the 4 elements.
I don't mind that at all.
But it's so generic.
I mean, you know what?
Cliches
are a thing
because they work. They exist because they.
Yeah, but against them as much as you can. It's not a bad idea to.
I mean, to be fair, it's not all
the other races have
a lot of elemental stuff
going on with them.
What other ones? Are there any other ones that have anything to do
with the elements? I don't think so. I mean, we have the lizard folk.
We have the lizard folk are like the senses.
Because I was trying to build this along the idea of hang on.
Oh, right.
Oh,
duh.
Right.
Duh. Yeah. Freaking dumb.
What? Oh, it thinks you want to say following,
not flowing.
That's weird.
That's weird.
Where are the flowing veins?
What would the freed by destiny, if we're going along the lines of chain, vein, fire, earth, very like mining ideas.
Yeah.
Oh.
We need another word in there because so far we've made
way
it
of the blank blank.
Way of the blank blank.
So
just having way of the blank
just feels
Oh, absolutely. Well, freed by destiny actually wouldn't be the explorer, because freed by destiny is someone who, in my opinion, is one who is like, doesn't matter doesn't matter what I do, I was destined to do it. It's very carefree in the idea of like, whatever.
Yeah.
That was destined to happen. It doesn't matter. I have no responsibilities because destiny has already laid it out in front of me that I'm going to do that. It's a very inactive role.
But I feel like instead of
the given in destiny, this one, they're free to buy it. They're like, yes,
this is laid out for me.
This is laid out for me.
I have no care.
I can
whatever I do, whatever happens
is destined to happen, which means I can experience life to its fullest.
I'm a passenger.
I'm a passenger.
Okay.
I am.
I'm a viewer.
I
guess, or something like that. I don't know.
Or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, that could work.
I like that.
The best part is
a couple of the
monk paths that already
exist
can fit into these pretty well.
Cool.
Way of the open palm
could work for Way of Sundered Earth.
Especially with that.
Oh,
my brain died. I know what.
The
one where you basically I can just decide that you take a butt ton of damage or go to 0 hit points now.
So I feel like these the teachers of these ways definitely tend to like gather at cities, or what are the largest gatherings of Apex. They don't adhere to the want for Jade. They are only going to teach people the various ways that they have found to be the best paths for the Apex. So I don't want to say the Enlightened, because that doesn't really fit. I feel like the Enlightened would be someone who understands like all 5 natures in total balance. And maybe there's a legend of one Apec who has learned that, and from them, or who has learned of essentially destiny itself. And these paths came from their 5, or this one Apex 5 followers, or one felt downtrodden that they are bound by destinies, by all that destiny has decided to lay out in front of them. One who decided to be active in their role against, or role with destiny. One who felt that their destiny is one that needs to be forged ahead of time, or forged while they're going. One who felt the restraint of destiny and decided to fight back. And then one who felt incredibly carefree to the idea of destiny has already laid out its decisions for them.
So that would be...
That there is a creation myth.
That would
be...
That'd be under here, I guess. The
big literature section, not the art and literature section.
Well, I mean, that would definitely be still within religion.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah.
I mean,
we could say that, but then we
would
expand further upon it down. I guess you're right. Yeah, I guess you're right. You can put the stories down there later. But this. So it'd be like this.
So it'd be like this.
View as these views.
I should say.
I should put this underneath.
Underneath this then.
Destiny has views of destiny came from the legend of put that there an Apec who understood destiny to its fullest. Each way of thinking came from students. Pupil. I like pupils more.
I was gonna say disciples.
That works even better.
It's TIC. Actually, no, that doesn't right.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Jesus, what is it? Oh, SCI.
Oh, there we go.
Oh,
I was like,
we were both right and both wrong. Okay, so that's their religious, and you can absolutely see various like hierarchies in this species falling into one of these categories. Yeah. The rich and powerful probably fall under the freed. Warriors and those who want to like set out on their own ideas probably fall under fighter. Maker of one's destiny. I could see some artists. I could see explorers falling into that category. Given to destiny is probably the most popular one. It's probably the one that is most prevalent amongst the Apex. Shackled to destiny, probably up there with the given to destiny in how prevalent it is. But I feel like that also might be a term that could be used for depression. Oh, you feel shackled by your destiny. I'm very sorry to hear that. Let us try to help you feel alleviate the chains or whatever. Let's see. Exports and services? I mean, Jade.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say Jade. Probably their art. Depending on what continent these guys are on. The leatherworks, I could see pelts. I could see also a lot of these guys being mercenaries.
I'm tapping because I'm thinking. Well, let's obviously we're gonna write down Jade first. Apex. Oh God! I'm just trying to think of the word.
trying to think of the word that's like with like
they see it so often.
They see it so often. They know
it's part of
how it works. It's part of
craftsmanship in Apex.
Craftsmanship in Apex.
I say the description again.
Just like the word I'm thinking of is design, but that's not exactly the word I want to convey, right? Because obviously, if Jade is such important thing, it means they see it all the time. It's basically they know it so well. It's second nature that they know how to use it, how to craft with it.
Okay. Let's see. We're looking for a synonym with design. Let's go to one of my favorite websites. Thesaurus.com.
It's a good website.
It is. It really is.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Alright, so what was the description one more time? Arrangement, configuration, form, pattern.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
I was
Fabricate,
invent.
I was like, that's a neat word. And it's not. It didn't work. What we're going for.
Code. I mean, they understand the composure of Jade in such a way.
Yeah. So the
I don't know.
custom Apex composition.
Yes, we would have to come back to that one.
Yeah. We'll come back to that. We'll put that here for now.
We'll put that here for now.
BBJ has captured the hearts of many
noble.
Of an craftsmanship composition is no exception.
Yeah, composition does work. Too nice of a word for something that's just generalized, but
I mean, sometimes you want to
sometimes you want to make something fancier than it actually is.
Fair. So yeah, I absolutely see Jade works, maybe some Jade weapons, absolutely being major exports. I could see their services as warriors or miners being that of a service as well. And essentially, again, dentured. I could see their relationship with other species not going so hot because their ideas, or from their tradition, it's like, oh yeah, no, I can opt in and opt out of any situation. It doesn't seem to be my liking. Well, I'll just leave. And other civilizations be like, hold up, no, you said you'd work for me.
You had a deal.
You said you'd work for me for 10 years. And the APEC being like, no, this isn't, I don't want to do this anymore. This is not my destiny. Bye! So I could see, like, some civilizations seeing the APEC as, like, they're very flaky. Like, they're definitely someone that will be by your side one day and then not be there the next.
That's a yes. I like that.
That's a yes. I like that.
So that would go under norms.
And daylight. I would guess.
Other races.
Like, I could see them being great mercenaries, but at the same time can be easily swayed to various other sides.
Yeah.
So, like, their fighting prowess is fantastic. Just hope your enemy doesn't have more money. Specifically Jade.
Other races do not share Apex view of destiny. Wherein APEC will not fault another for leaving one's service. Where an APEC will not fault another for leaving one's service. I'm just gonna put a random race there just for fun. Instead of trying to come up.
You could say the agreements of other races just don't coincide with the beliefs of the APEC, where other races act on their agreements to its conclusion. Apex see that as unnecessary if said APEC does not believe that they're along the right path in said agreement.
conclusion, an APEC will not if they leave it does not coincide with their destiny. Does that sound good? Does that sound good?
Yeah, yeah. As such, this has caused Apex to be viewed as less reliable. Should they be hired as workers or mercenaries? Though, despite this, races will still have been known to hire, still work with Apex due to the level of craftsmanship and expertise shown by the race. All in all, like, it's a general idea of just like a crap, they're really good.
Yeah, it's like crap, they're good.
Yeah, it's like crap, they're good, but fuck.
But they might just not be there the next day, and that's awful.
Yeah.
But I really need them right now. I could see some races like going a little bit out of their way to make a group of Apex feel comfortable or feel like just like showing them better treatment to make sure they don't up and leave. If it's within that race's like budget to do so.
Yeah.
So maybe Apex are more of a prized mercenary. So like, oh man, you have a loyal Apex on your side? Dang. You must... Either he really thinks that, like, his destiny, or their destiny is to stay with you, or you are pampering the hell out of them.
Yeah. There we go. An APEC scenario. A loyal. Here we go. A loyal. There we go. A loyal mercenary. A loyal APEC mercenary. Group is. What's what I'm looking for? I mean, it's obviously highly sought after, but that's not what I'm for. Because obviously, when someone sees that, oh my god,
Both feared and revered, if you want to go the rhyming route. I would say it's just something to be feared.
Something to be feared. For this means that you there we go. They believe their destiny lies
with whom they work for.
That works.
To the bitter end. Like, I imagine like an APEC group that like feels that they have found their calling and their destiny with like a lord or whatever. That's something like, oh crap, that those people are going to fight till the absolute end.
Mm-hmm.
Like, putting 1 down might be difficult. Putting 5 down, that's gonna be a task to be overcome.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, there could be a moment where there could be one day where they're like, "No, my destiny ain't here," and just leave.
Yeah, like it could just be like
it could just be like they could be pampering Tally, but like one
this
like,
isn't
no,
it.
this isn't it.
This isn't it, Chief.
This isn't it, Chief.
So like, they're definitely something that I would say is feared on both sides, because the enemy is fearing them for their prowess. The ally is fearing them because they just might not be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. What, the next one. Food. Yeah, are these a carnivorous race? Is it a omnivorous race?
Gorillas are
omnivorous, I'm pretty sure.
Okay,
Fairly certain.
Being that they're nomadic, I mean, they're not gonna have crops. I think the idea of the typical crops that you would grow...
Huh.
I would say probably is a luxury, because that means that the vein of jadeite that they've been mining in an area has been there for so long that it allowed for crops to grow.
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to say that one more time.
I was reading up on something.
I was saying that crops that are normally grown, like corn or something that takes a season to grow. I would say that you would only find stuff like that as a luxury, because that means that the jadeite vein or veins that have been being mined have lasted so long that it has given time for crops to grow and mature and be harvested. So I would say that, like, most of their diet consists of what they can find in the jungle, but the truly rich will have farmers, and like that is a role that is incredibly rare, and I would say pretty like heralded as like a very high ranking position, because you would only be hired or like invited to an area if that place knew that its veins of jadeite was going to be lasting a long time.
Could you write that part down while I write it?
And write things down in the food section.
Up in the culture. I mean, the culture is like the breakdown of their society on who is what.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. Do that then.
Yeah. Yeah. Do that then.
reading
typed
it
out, I feel like
that might actually go in food instead of customs.
Okay.
You are writing that way better than what I wrote.
Delete what I wrote.
I got it. There you go.
Terminology. Opt in. Okay, opt in. You have. So essentially, smaller aspects is like, nah, go feed yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But once it gets large enough where farmers are now needed, then it's expected on the higher ups to be like, okay, I have a farm, or we have farmers, we have harvests. Only I can have a farmer, so it's expected that I make sure that everyone is fed. Because you guys have, pulled the jade out of the earth for me. I need to make sure that you're doing all right.
So another thing. How do they dress? Obviously, like we said.
I have no idea.
Well, jade jewelry is mostly worn by owners of mines.
If they're essentially 8 people, can't imagine they need to wear that much, especially if they're in jungle climates. So I imagine the workers tend to wear very loose clothing. Shirts, very loose pants. Very simple and something that can be easily repaired. Warriors, their armor is probably
Native jade, yeah.
Well, not just jade. You wouldn't make armor entirely out of jade.
Well, yeah.
But if they're excavating jade, then I imagine they're running into iron. They're running into. So I imagine their armor probably consists of iron, maybe with jade highlights, depending on rank. Or how long they've been serving.
What was the word that you used?
Highlights.
Highlights. Yeah, highlights. You could also say gilding.
Yes.
That's.
I believe that functions for not just gold.
I mean, even if it does, people will
know what it means.
Yeah, it's like gold leaf, gold paint, that stuff.
Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah. That's fine.
It works. What is the style of these clothing? It's obviously just writing out. They wear loose clothing, but what does it look like?
I feel like if they're nomadic, they wouldn't be too dependent on, well, at least the lower end of an Apec probably wouldn't be too fancy, because if they're working as miners or anything of that, they likely wouldn't care like what they looked like. They just needed their clothing to be, I don't want to say open, but like very easy to move in. But as you get higher up in rank or in the societal ranks, then you would see more jade jewelry, maybe the very, very, very occasional silk product, but that's incredibly rare because that's probably not from them. That was probably something made from someone else. Those that would probably have the most diverse clothing would be mercenaries or founders. Founders for the more obvious reasons. They're trading the jade. But I feel like mercenaries would also have a lot of things from other societies because, well, I worked for humans, so I picked up these things that I liked. I worked for some elves, so I picked up an elven sword that I liked. So I think you could really pick out a group of Apex who are the more successful Apec mercenary groups are those who have the most clashing styles, essentially. Where it's like, oh, the clothing, the shirt is from a human camp that I worked for, the pants are from a dwarven group I worked for, the sword is from an elven group I worked for. Like, they are just a mishmash of cultures, the higher, or the more experienced of fighters they are.
I like that for
mercenaries and stuff like that, but
I feel like I do want the APEC to have
their own style,
within.
Like obviously
I'm trying to think of what style would really.
I'm making things difficult.
I'm gonna write down that mercenary.
I'm gonna write down that mercenary thing.
I'm just trying to think of if they're nomadic. What's their pack animal?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna take this out. Just in a mismatch of. What animals live in the jungle?
I mean, elephant. Well, depending on where in the world you're talking about, you could say elephants.
Can
That would be like,
capybaras live in the forest.
Capybaras are not a pack animal.
I know they're not. I'm just looking at animals
in the jungle. I was like,
that's adorable.
That's adorable.
Do water buffaloes?
Well, the question is, is yours
pink and mine blue, or
are you gonna take it down to the store? Well, its horns get stuck in the door. Spill some lima beans on the floor.
Okay, so back to the point.
I can see the humor him. He'll stop
eventually.
No, I know you'll never stop.
I mean, it does look like some
elephants live in the forest.
So I could see them doing or using elephants as a pack animal.
What's an okapi?
I don't know.
The okapi, also known as the forest giraffe, Congolese giraffe, or zebra giraffe, that's a word. Artiodactyl mammal native to the northeast Democratic Republic of the Congo in Central Africa. Though the okapi has striped markings reminiscent of zebra, it is mostly closely related to the giraffe. The okapi and the giraffe are the only living members of the family Giraffidae. Stand about 4 foot 9 feet tall
at the shoulder
and has a typical body length of about 8.2 feet. Its weight ranges from 440 to 770 pounds. Has a long neck and large flexible ears. Well, I mean, a long neck. It's definitely longer than a horse, but not as long as a giraffe.
That doesn't sound like a pack animal. I mean, it could be, maybe.
Okapis inhabit
canopy forests at altitudes.
They are endemic to the tropical forest.
When they occur.
I mean, like, at least from what I'm seeing, their neck doesn't look that big. It looks basically like their neck looks
basically as long as like maybe
a deer or an antelope.
Okay. I don't know, man. That one I don't know. What do you think would be a good pack animal for them?
I think maybe we just go with the elephants.
The elephants. I think the elephants would work the best.
So then I hate to say it, but ivory would probably be...
Yeah.
Ivory and leathers be the go-to. Yeah, I think you would have lower society of groups with maybe the occasional, probably still leathers, some cloth and leathers, probably a lot of grays and browns for their tendency of colors. Like higher and like very, very, very rarely you would have maybe some ivory or some jade in lower societal ranks. But as you go further up, you'll probably run into some dyes, and then you'll run into more jade and more ivory. I feel like ivory and jade are going to be like the go-to things for this culture's like show of wealth instead of gold and silvers.
It's like that.
It's like that.
Yeah. Yeah. What would their language be? Can't imagine it be.
It's Simiran.
Okay.
Funny enough,
Ethan asked that same question when we were doing the Scampero.
And like I said, it's
the language is based off of Chinese. Obviously, way down the line when I start developing actual conlangs for each language.
Obviously, I'll be working on that.
I feel like
Simiran will be one of the
later ones. If I'm going to tackle a language based off of Chinese, I'm going to want to have a lot of experience crafting conlangs under my belt. That will probably be one of the later ones I work on.
Back down into the economics, because it looks like the only things that we really have left are literature, natural resource. We already know what that is. And imports. I imagine what they import tends to be iron and steel.
Yeah, probably. Oh shit.
Essentially things that and maybe crops. It's essentially things that, as nomadic, they wouldn't have access to. And iron and steel is something that would help them with mining and all of that shenaniganry.
It's like that.
Another thing I feel like each
culture should have at least
one holiday.
One celebration.
Okay. Probably the founding of a vein. Like, discovery of a vein, or the anniversary of discovering a vein. What you would actually call that, I don't...
We don't have to think about the holiday right now.
That was just something that's on the plate that we need to have as well.
I think I think we should stop for now.
I mean, obviously, my brain hasn't been
fully good the entire time.
I feel like we're starting to hit a wall.
In design, when you're just like,
you're trying to keep going.
So I think right now is a good place to stop.
Right now is a good place to stop.
We've been
working for almost 2 hours.
So we'll pick this up. Obviously.
At some point, obviously.
Okay.
So I'm gonna say thanks to everyone who's watching. And everyone has a wonderful day.
Hope everyone has a wonderful day.
So, bye.
Bye.
Bye.